A pleasant surprise has emerged from Michigan's spring game on Saturday. I think they found the new starting quarterback to replace JJ McCarthy. I'll tell you what I think. Locked On Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman. Coming up on 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer, I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Terms and conditions apply. A very pleasant situation, I think, developed on Saturday in Ann Arbor during the Maize and Blue game. The Wolverines may have found their starting quarterback to replace JJ McCarthy. Davis Warren, a little used senior out of Los Angeles, has emerged as a quarterback that will challenge Alex Orji for the starting job. Warren led the Maize team to a 17-7 win on Saturday afternoon. Let's talk about it. I think this is an exciting development. I'm not going to put too much into one scrimmage or one game, spring game, but I think this is worth looking at. The former walk-on impressed everybody by completing 6 of 9 passes for 136 yards and 2 touchdowns in the game, and a game in which points were very hard to come by against this Michigan defense. In the days following Michigan's national championship, people began to immediately wonder who will replace JJ McCarthy at quarterback. After all, McCarthy had just led the Wolverines to an undefeated season and a national championship and was on his way to becoming a first-round pick in the NFL draft, which takes place this week. Guys like that are not easy to replace, even at a powerhouse and established football program like Michigan, where there's always a next man up, right? So who would be the next man up? Conventional wisdom going into spring ball was that Alex Orji and maybe Jaden Denegal were the two frontrunners to battle out the job. There's also Jaden Davis. He's young. And, of course, Davis Warren, who we just talked about. And as spring ball progressed leading up to the Maize and Blue game, it was Alex Orji, no surprise there, and surprise, Davis Warren that earned the starting job for the Maize and Blue game on each side. In Saturday's game, Orji played to his strengths, and he ran for a touchdown in that game. Warren came out and threw 2 touchdowns. Offensive coordinator Kirk Campbell has some decision-making to do. Now, let's not get overboard here. He's got 4 months to decide what to do. There's a lot of practice. There's a lot of football between now and then. And listen, Orji is still very much in position to be the starter here. He's strong and athletic, has a little bit of experience, not a lot. Warren has been with the program the longest, been in that quarterback room a long time, and he's just now maybe coming into his own, a late bloomer, if you will. And he's more athletic than people give him credit for. I thought he had a little wiggle inside the pocket, a little wiggle into his game, a little athleticism, if you will. Made a nice throw off of his back foot for a touchdown in that game as well. Other quarterbacks, of course, Denegal, who we've talked about here, is the biggest, the strongest. Jane Davis is an up-and-comer, probably not his time yet. And let's not forget Jack Tuttle, who transferred from Indiana before last season. He actually has the most experience as a starter on this roster right now and was actually just granted a 7th year of eligibility, but due to an injury, he did not play on Saturday. All are interesting options. And if you could bottle the skill set of all 5 of these guys, you would have an awesome quarterback. You might even have a JJ McCarthy, all 5 of them in one. And in a sport where injuries happen, it's good to have a big quarterback room. But what if the 2024 season starter isn't on the roster right now? That's another possibility. It's possible Sharon Moore and offensive coordinator Kirk Campbell will review film over the next few days and decide that they need to upgrade and hit the spring transfer portal, bring in a new guy. Problem is, there aren't a lot of starters floating around there. There might be here in the next couple of days. You never know. Apparently, it's been discussed, though, because when Alex Orji was asked about it this past weekend, he gave a great answer, like he's thought about it, like it's been discussed. He said, whether we bring in another guy here or not, they're going to be a Michigan quarterback. We rep like that, like it's your own last name. We're just one big happy family. Pretty interesting answer, I thought, for a guy who currently is first on the Michigan depth chart at quarterback. Now, let's talk more about Davis Warren. Since he's been in Ann Arbor the longest, he's got the best perspective on all this. He says that the quarterback room is a lot different now than when it was when he arrived several years ago. He says the room just continues to rise. Good bunch of guys always helping each other out. It wasn't always that way, he said, when he arrived. For those of you that may be a little bit unfamiliar with Warren, he had leukemia in high school, missed a season of high school ball, and his development was hindered. So he had to walk on at Michigan in 2021. No scholarship offer. That was the year that Cade McNamara led the team to the first of 3 straight Big Ten titles and a playoff berth. And then JJ McCarthy took over for a couple of years. You know the story. Back to offensive coordinator Kirk Campbell. He's got some criteria for naming a starter, similar to many other coaches. Look, number 1 is production on the field. Number 2, low turnover, high completion rate. And number 3, leadership qualities. Well, maybe Warren will check all those boxes for him. Everybody has a big summer ahead of them, a lot of work to do. But maybe, just maybe, JJ McCarthy's big shoes may be filled by Davis Warren. Consider that. Now, spring football is over for Michigan, and we could start the countdown clock for the beginning of the regular season. Can't wait. It's going to be here fast. It's going to be here before you know it. We're all going to be very excited about it. There are some details coming up about the upcoming season that we will share with you. First of all, many of you have the second game on the schedule already circled on your calendar, right? September 7th, the Texas Longhorns, they're coming into the Big House. And we have learned now that it's going to be a noon kickoff. So if you're in Ann Arbor, you get up early, get ready to go. That's a noon kickoff on Fox, nationally televised game. We thought it would be. I mean, there's no bigger marquee game in the country than that on that particular day. So Fox is going to grab that, put it in its noon window, and be very excited about it. And if you're going, get your Maize shirts out. By the way, you can order those here on our website, talkbig10number10.com. But the game's going to feature a Maize out. 100,000, 107,000 people are going to be there wearing Maize in the September sun. Should be quite a sight on national television. Quite a sight if you're there. So the Maize out for the Texas game, week 2, September 7th. We also know that the September 21st game versus USC at Michigan Stadium will be the first ever stripe out. So each section, you'll all be wearing all blue, or you'll be all wearing Maize, and they're going to stripe it out. And that will be spectacular as well. A lot of fun, a lot of big matchups in the new expanded Big Ten with all the new great teams coming in from the Pac-12. Very exciting, adding to what's already an awesome packed schedule. So we can't wait. We can't wait. Now, regarding one last thought to last season, and of course, Michigan winning the national championship, and that meant that Jim Harbaugh had to fulfill one more promise to us guys. All right, he got a tattoo. He says, "Man, if we go undefeated and win it all, I'll get a tattoo." He doesn't have any tattoos. He does now. He has one on his right shoulder. It's a big block M, and that says 15-0 for the undefeated season right there. So even though he's out there in Los Angeles getting ready to coach up the Chargers, still hasn't forgotten his promise made at Michigan, got himself the tattoo. So we're not sure, though, if he's offering to tattoo his other shoulder. Maybe he's got a situation. Maybe he's got a promise to Justin Herbert, the quarterback of the LA Chargers, if they win the Super Bowl. Maybe he's got to get the other shoulder done with the Lombardi Trophy logo or something like that. I don't know. That's up to him, but he fulfilled it. It's out there. We'll probably have a picture of it tomorrow on Tuesday tweets, like we always do. Hey, if you like what you're seeing here, tell your friends about us, please. That helps us out. You got some other Michigan fans or Big Ten fans or family members or alum Tell them about us, and be sure to subscribe if you don't mind. Real quick, just click the subscribe button. No other information is required. It is absolutely free. It just gets you in our Big Ten club here and let you know when we're out and about every single day. You can follow Lockdown Big Ten for free wherever you get your podcasts, and that way you get the latest episode of this podcast as soon as it becomes available each and every day. Now, Michigan didn't have the only spring game this weekend. I have some thoughts on some of the other ones. Illinois looks great at the quarterback situation in their depth there. We'll talk about that. And Aidan Chiles getting very comfortable in East Lansing. So we'll talk about that. But I got to prepare you for what I'm about to tell you about Mike Woodson on the basketball portal at Indiana University. He's winning it. All of it. He's just absolutely killing it. We'll have all those details coming up here in just a few minutes right here on Lockdown Big Ten. Stay with us. All right, let me tell you a couple of things here. LinkedIn Jobs. It's very, very impressive. If you have a small business, an office, and you need people, you need to go to LinkedIn Jobs. And they'll help you find the quality professionals that are right for the role. And you got to check out LinkedIn Jobs. It has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. It's not just like some other random job board, nothing like that at all. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job, but might be open to the perfect role if someone to reach out to them. In fact, in a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 85% of small businesses get qualified candidates within 24 hours. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockdowncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockdowncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Thank you for making Lockdown Big Ten your first listen each and every day, especially you everydayers out there. Meanwhile, be sure to subscribe on YouTube and share and follow and like Locked On Big Ten, your team and your teams every day. We cover them all here. We got 18 teams to keep track of. This is the only podcast that will do that thoroughly each and every day. Don't forget to check out our website, and then we'll have your favorite Big Ten merch and ticket information. It's all right there. And all of our podcasts are there in chronological order or grouped by school or team. It's at talkbig1010.com. So Michigan State held its first spring game, scrimmage, whatever you want to call it, for them, about an hour on Saturday under Jonathan Smith. 4 quarterbacks saw action, but Aidan Chiles appears to be the real deal. After transferring to East Lansing along with Smith from Oregon State. There's some mixed results early on, but then he led the Spartans on a quick offensive 80-yard drive. Took just a minute right before the half. Thing of beauty. And it resulted in a touchdown. I think you're going to see a lot of that at Michigan State this year. He also showed some scrambling ability in the second half. So we'll take a closer look at that here on Lockdown Big Ten in the coming days. We're going to be touching on a lot of all the teams coming up here and what they've been doing in the spring. I did note Illinois and their spring scrimmage as well. Brett Bielema's crew, Luke Altmyer, kind of looked like he was in preseason form, to be honest with you. Just played the first half, went 10 for 14, 116 yards and 2 touchdowns. But then Donovan Leary came in and lit it up, threw for 207 yards and 2 touchdowns. Illinois looks good at the quarterback position. They don't have a whole lot to worry about right there. And Indiana late last week held its first spring football game in 5 years under first-year head coach Curt Cignetti. He liked the running game, he liked the blocking up front. He told the offensive coordinator Mike Shanahan, though, to throw it 65 to 75% in the game. Wanted to see the quarterbacks air it out a little bit, and so they did. Curtis Rourke, he seems to be the front runner for that job. Taven Jackson looked good in spurts. So some good things. Coach wants to see more tape before he talks about it more. But while we're in Bloomington, let me tell you about the basketball team here, what's going on with Mike Woodson. Look, they had a disappointing season to be sure. After making the NCAA tournament, his first 2 seasons coming back to Bloomington last year, they didn't make it. Well, if you read the message boards or comment, a lot of people were upset. Like, tap the brakes. All right. Transition period. But then things just weren't looking great as the IU faithful were getting restless. And then Woodson's only incoming recruit, granted, he was a great one, 5-star Liam McNeely, he bailed on him just a few weeks ago. So now I'm reopening my recruiting period. I guess Indiana's still in the mix. He's looking at Kansas, whatever. It looked really dark for Mike Woodson all of a sudden. So the one thing Woody can do is he can recruit. And I know he didn't have any recruits coming in at this point, but he's had some success in late spring recruiting and the portal. And man, he got after it. Now he's got a couple of things in his back pocket when he goes to visit a kid. All right. He's an NBA coach. Kids like that. They want to get to the NBA. Mike Woodson can show them how. Then he's got a track record of developing kids and getting them ready for the NBA. Jalen Hood-Schifino last year was one and done. First round pick of the Lakers. There was also the success of Trace Jackson Davis, who stayed another year and got himself ready for the NBA and had a pretty successful rookie season, actually, with the Golden State Warriors, even though the Warriors had a disappointing year this year. And then there's the story of Khalil Ware. You talk about developing a guy, underperformed, had a low motor at Oregon, comes to Indiana, started out slow. Everybody thought, okay. Then all of a sudden, midway through the season, he took off. There was development there. There was improvement there. That's coaching. And the kid's going to be a lottery pick in the NBA draft. Other kids notice stuff like that. And so now they're coming to Indiana in droves. A team that didn't have any recruits coming in a couple of weeks ago. They got their roster put together now. By the way, one other thing, in addition to Woodson having the ability to develop kids and get kids to the NBA, Indiana has doubled down on its commitment for name, image, and likeness. They got a little money to shell out. And those two things together, they're getting players. So you put it all together. IU's winning the transfer portal. They got the number one recruiting portal class coming in this year. And here's the projected starting 5. You got Miles Rice, point guard, coming out of Washington State. It's not easy to win at Washington State. He did. He's a transfer. He's Pac-10 freshman of the year. You got shooting guard Kenan Carlisle out of Stanford, also coming in. Then holdovers, Mackenzie Mbako, who returns for his second year. He got off to a slow start last year, but he started developing late. He'll be at forward, as will power forward Malik Renew, returns for his third year, and he continues to develop leaps and bounds. And then center Omar Ballo, who just last week said he's coming in from Arizona, reportedly asked for $1.2 million in nil money. Don't know what the deal was, but that was the asking price. And let's not forget about Bryson Tucker, who was a 5-star heading to the G League, but then decided when that G League team folded, he was going to go do a year of college. He's going to do it in Bloomington. So it's a 5-star. You got Trey Galloway coming off the bench, Gabe Cups, who got better as the year went on, coming off the bench. And now Galloway, he can just concentrate on shooting, being more of a 2 guard, sometimes a 3, instead of, being a point guard and having to run everything because Xavier Johnson injuries throughout the year. So this team is starting to come together, and it's pretty exciting with the level of talent there in Bloomington. So be excited for the 2024 season. In other hoops news, what's going on at Wisconsin? Greg Gard, he's got to replace some people. Wisconsin, this is the opposite of what's going on in Indiana. AJ Storr still exploring his NBA options, but he decided if he comes back to play college, it's going to be at Kansas, not Wisconsin. He chose Kansas while also considering Arkansas, Texas, and Illinois. Also, Badgers starting point guard Chucky Hepburn entered the transfer portal. That's a tough shot against the Badgers, as he had a pretty good season, controlled the Badger offense, and played some pretty good defense as well, and averaged 32 minutes a game for Wisconsin. So he was a big part of this team. He'll be tough to replace. Connor Esigian, the guard, recently announced he's hitting the portal. He announced he's staying in the Big Ten, though. He's going to go to Nebraska. Okay. He visited Maryland and Indiana before choosing the Huskers. He had a good freshman year, but then he dropped off last year significantly. Now Fred Hoiberg saw the potential of the freshman year and says, let me get that out of him here. And, of course, Tyler Wall is gone after playing 5 seasons for the Badgers. So Greg Gard's team will look a lot different in 2024. Hey, this week is big. It's the draft, the NFL draft. We're all very excited about the draft. If you're a football fan, and who isn't, Locked On has an NFL mock draft available now. You can find the ultimate 6-episode series, Locked On NFL Draft. You hear the local Locked On experts who they're picking for every NFL franchise with live reactions from local college football experts and even fantasy football angle at play here. The Locked On NFL mock draft available now on Locked On NFL Draft on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. I have every Monday, I like to share with you my top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. I will share it. Hang around for this. This is a good list. We'll see if you agree with me on things you saw this weekend. All that coming up right here on Locked On Big Ten. You know, it's playoff time in the NBA and the NHL. Baseball's rolling, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every single game. Right now, new customers, you get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that is safe. The app is secure. The app is easy to use. So what are you waiting for? All your friends are doing it, right? Now you can talk to them about doing the same thing. You're missing out on all the fun. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. Tonight, Monday night, NBA action. The Magic are at Cleveland. Magic, 5.5-point favorite. They lead the series 1-0. I like the Magic to even that series up. Take the Magic. Sixers and Knicks. Knicks are 4.5-point favorites here. They lead that series 1-0. I think the Sixers even that series up. Take the 76ers. Lakers and Denver. Denver's a 7.5-point favorite. I kind of feel like that's a little bit of a big number, but I think Denver wins. Maybe they just eke out a cover here and go out 2-0, go up 2-0 on this series. Those are my thoughts on that. You can do it too. It's very easy on FanDuel. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Okay, let's get to our Big Ten top 10 observations from the weekend. We'll see if you agree. Sit around, watch a lot of spring football like I did. All right, let's put it on the screen. If you're audio only, I'll describe it to you in detail for you. But we're going to start off with a little shout out to Michigan softball. A big 11-3 win over Nebraska on Sunday. Got to kind of get into the flow with some softball there. Let's see what else we have. Number 9. Indiana and Minnesota. This is a shout out actually to both Indiana and Minnesota. They played a doubleheader on Sunday. If you like offense, this was your series. IU won the first game 18-8. Minnesota won the second game 13-2. A lot of runs in that one, but a shout out to both of them getting some offense going. Number 8, Indiana quarterback Curtis Rourke, after Indiana's spring football game on Thursday night under the lights, completed 20 passes in that game. But I really want to give a shout out. Number 7, Illinois quarterback Donovan Leary, 207 yards passing and 2 touchdowns for the Fighting Illini. And that was after starter Luke Altmyer, who we put in at number 6, just looked like he was in midseason form, ready to go. Also, after just a little bit of a slow start, he started to look a little more midseason. Michigan State quarterback Aidan Chiles in their spring scrimmage on Saturday. Looks like he's really getting control of that whole Spartan offense over there. And I think there may be some growing pains for Chiles and Michigan State, but I also think there's going to be some splashes of excitement that haven't been there in a couple of years. And number 4, I'm going to give a shout out to former Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh for getting that tattoo and living up to his promises, the Block M and the 15-0 on the right shoulder. That's just throwing shoulder too. All right, we got number 3. Iowa, former Iowa basketball player Caitlin Clark, now with the Indiana Fever. So, people talk about how the women's salaries in the WNBA they're pathetically low. Like her first year, she can make like 75, 76 grand. But she did sign an 8-figure deal with Nike. Congratulations to her for that. That's going to cover a lot of expenses. At number 2, a shout out to Indiana basketball coach Mike Woodson, as we said, who is just killing it on the transfer portal. Good job to him. And at number 1, Michigan quarterback Davis Warren. We started the podcast talking about today. Maybe he did just enough in the spring game to put himself on top of the depth chart. Battling it out there with Alex Orji in Ann Arbor. Again, still many, many weeks of summer and fall camp going into the season before that gets decided. But he opened a lot of eyes on Saturday in Ann Arbor. So congratulations to him. After a long wait, he's a senior, used to be a walk-on, battling leukemia. It's a great story. Now maybe, just maybe, he'll be the starting quarterback at Michigan here in the fall. Hey, many ways for you to interact with me. As always, don't forget Twitter or X at TalkBig10 our website, TalkBig10 and comments on YouTube are always welcome. No matter what you do, be sure to subscribe and follow this podcast right now on your favorite podcast app, and you'll get the latest episode of Locked On Big Ten as soon as it becomes available each and every day. We always invite you to watch more podcasts of Locked On Big Ten after this one, and invite you to check out our friends from Locked On Sports Today as well. That'll do it. I have some more spring football thoughts I want to get to. Couldn't get them all in today with your favorite team around the Big Ten, plus transfer portal news. It's all right here. Tell your friends about us. Have them join us all right here on Locked On Big Ten. Thanks for checking us out. Can't wait to talk to you tomorrow. I'm Craig Sheeman.